Hi, eighth grade. It's Miss Dodd. Welcome back from break. I hope everyone had a great, relaxing winter break. Um, Today, we're going to be going over some of the questions that we missed in Benchmark 2. And the reason why we're doing this is because in Benchmark 3, we are going to see a lot of these questions again in some other form. So Benchmark 3 is going to be a huge survey of what we've done, everything since the last week of July when we first started school. So it's good to get these questions right now so that you don't get them wrong again. As we go through this, I want you for your exit ticket to write the correct answer down in your exit ticket on the back page of your Independent Station packet. Okay, so flip to the back, and there should be under question 1 a big box to write the answer. Please handwrite out the entire answer and look at it and memorize it because you will see it again. Cool? All right, let's get started. So question 1 is one that a lot of people missed. Why were the French so anxious to build a colony in the area, which is now New Orleans? And we're just going to go through and do process of elimination. I'll think aloud so that in case you got that one wrong, it will be easier for you next time to get it right. All right. Why did the French want a colony there? A colony on the Mississippi would give them control of the river trade. Well, that seems right to me. We've talked a lot about how important the Mississippi was for trade for the French, so I'm going to consider that as a correct answer. Let's look at the rest. B. The French wanted to demonstrate their intention to remain in Louisiana to the Indians. Well, we've never really talked about the French wanting to do that. That doesn't seem right to me, so I'm just going to cross that off. That's kind of a distractor. And I'll put it in red so that I remember, or just cross it off in my packet so I remember it's the wrong answer. C. There were no native Indian settlements, so no people would have to be removed. Well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Remember, we talked a lot about the Natchez and the Houma Indians. So we do know there were native Indian settlements there. So that's not the right answer. And finally, the Spanish already had a colony on the west bank of the river. Well, is that true? We know that La Salle claimed Louisiana for France, and no other country had claimed it. We know De Soto just saw the Mississippi River, but he didn't actually claim that area for Spain. So D doesn't seem right to me either. So A is the right answer. Please write that entire answer. A colony on the Mississippi would give them control of the river trade down in your packet right now. Remember, this is a part of your exit ticket, and this is the main reason why France wanted a colony on the Mississippi. Okay. Question 2. Remember, question 2 gave you this map, and this map will be very crucial to help you get the answer correct. So as you can see, it says New France up here in the north. Then we have all of the English colonies who own land on the eastern seaboard of the United States. And I think this is all around about 1700. Okay, all of the following are reasons why France wanted a colony in Louisiana except. Now, be careful with this except word because that I think is very tricky for some people. When you see except, remember that you are looking for the false answer, okay? You're looking for the false answer. So you're only going to circle the one that seems like it's not correct or it's false. It's the exact opposite of what we usually do. All right, so A, to make allies of the native Indians along the Mississippi River. B, to block the English colonies from expanding westward. C, to move easily into the Gulf of Mexico for trade. Or D, to connect their Canadian colonies through the Mississippi River. Please use the map to help you get that answer correct. All right. The answer is A, to make allies of the native Indians along the Mississippi River. That is the only answer choice that is false. Okay? If you look at the map, they were hoping to block English colonies from moving west. So we can't pick that. That is true. We know already, like we said in the first question, they wanted to trade in the Gulf of Mexico. So we know that's true. And if you look up here, you have all of these Canadian colonies, and they want to connect them through the Mississippi River all the way to the south. That would be very helpful for their entire empire to be along the Mississippi. So that is also true. The only one that doesn't make sense is A. Now, it wasn't necessarily correct that they wanted just to make allies with them along the Mississippi River. They were making allies with them all throughout the Great Lakes up here. So that wasn't the only reason why they wanted the river. That's the only one that doesn't make a lot of sense with the map. The map doesn't even refer to Native Americans. All right, next question. We were given a map of Louisiana, and this entire area around where we know the Mississippi River is, passing through New Orleans and then going all the way up the edge of Louisiana, was shaded. The question was, the shaded area represents early French settlements. Why did most of them live there? Well, just look at the picture. If this shaded region is all along the river, what do we know about what the Mississippi does? That's right, the Mississippi floods every year and leaves a lot of very fertile soil. So the key to getting this answer correct was knowing that the shaded area here represents the area by the Mississippi River floodplain. And the second key to that is knowing how that positively affects soil for agriculture. So, what is the only answer choice that makes the most sense with where the area was shaded and where the Mississippi River is located? That's right, answer choice D. The most fertile soil was there. The rest of these are distractors. C is not correct. That was in the northwestern portion of the state. All right. B is not correct. There were native Indian villages all over the state, not just in that one particular area. And A is not correct because remember, the French were the ones that controlled the state. The Spanish were not there before the French were there. Okay? All right. Final question. This one was tricky because it was a passage. I will read it aloud and then we'll go through the answers. Ordinarily, it took a keelboat or barge from 3 to 4 months to make the journey from New Orleans to Louisville, with 10 to 20 miles a day, the average rate. Pioneer steamboats in 1815 and 1817 made a trip in 25 days, though trips of 30 to 35 days were more usual. By increasing the speed by which surplus crops could be transported to market, steamboats ensured that the crops would not spoil before reaching their destinations. This enabled crops to be shipped to more distant markets. All right, I am going to underline this sentence here because this is the key to the answer. All right. Usually in a passage like this, you can find the answer in one sentence, and this is the key, especially the second part here. Steamboats ensured that crops would not spoil before reaching their destinations, which means that crops were spoiling in keelboats. So remember, from this passage, we're looking for all of the following except, meaning we're looking for the false answer. And what would be the false answer? That's right, B is the false answer because perishables were more likely to spoil.